Hello YouTube and welcome to my new channel. If you know me at all, you will know me from my incessant 4th Doctor simping, my classic Who elitism, and my constant tweets about when I get new Big Finish deliveries. But since this is a new channel, I thought that a fitting start would be for me to discuss my personal history with this franchise that I endlessly obsess over. Because my history is rather different to most other Who-tubers. Now this is where my story, and how it intertwines with Doctor Who, begins. Born in July 2002, the same month as the release of Spare Parts, I was not raised in a Doctor Who household. That is to say that we didn't have any classic Who DVDs or VHS tapes in our house. I did, however, grow up like a great number of children with Star Wars. It was a very consistent thing throughout my childhood. I would constantly watch the prequels and the original trilogy. And this, from a very early age, established my love for science fiction and the stories it could tell. My first firm memory of Doctor Who came with the airing of Doomsday in 2006, where I have the vaguest of memories of Rose being sucked into the void. I may have possibly recalled earlier events, but nothing from before Series 2. I had no idea Eccleston even existed for a good many years after this. Fast forward a good number of years and we arrive at 2015, where I have met my good friend Louis. Louis has been a lifelong Doctor Who fan, and with me trying to assimilate to my friend's interests, I decided to give Doctor Who a proper go this time. So the 19th of September rolls around and I watch The Magician's Apprentice on airing, and I was confused and disappointed. I had heard good things about Series 8 from a few people and was told that Capaldi was a highlight. So in the interest of fairness, I watched the second part the following week, and was let down once more, and thus decided once again to give up with Doctor Who, because it clearly was not for me. In retrospect, The Magician's Apprentice / The Witch's Familiar is a terrible jumping on point, with it relying heavily on pre-established characters, lore and locations, and I was a stupid 13-year-old with only a cautionary knowledge of Doctor Who. I can now look back on the story and say it's bad, but I can give many more reasons outside of being a confused teenager. We then skip again to 2017. I had known that Doctor Who would be coming back, but didn't really care as I was put off by my previous experience. As such, I had no real interest in watching it. However, I had made plans with Louis to hang out at his for the afternoon. That day was the 15th of April. When the pilot aired. I didn't know this until I arrived at his and he mentioned that he wanted to watch it, and I, not really caring, agreed. So come to the time where it appears on BBC One, and that was the moment I was hooked on the show. From that moment forward, I watched all of Series 10 on airing, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And looking back, I still stand by the fact that it is a consistent, strong run of episodes with a big 3-part monk-sized exception. And from there, I wanted to explore more, so I sat myself down and I watched all of New Who. And I even found clips of classic Doctors, and discovered my intrigue into the history of this programme. It wasn't too far into my first New Who marathon where I watched my first classic Doctor Who story, The Talons of Weng-Chiang. Retroactively, it was a really poor choice. I do not recommend Talons as a jumping on point for not just Tom Baker, but for all of Classic Who. However, I cannot deny that it worked. After all, I started collecting Doctor Who DVDs and watching missing episodes after finding out about them from my research into the classic series. And whilst I haven't seen all of the show yet, I have now reached a point where I can confidently say I've seen a good amount. And that's my history with Doctor Who, and how even though I haven't been an avid viewer for my whole life like so many others, I most certainly am far too obsessed with this odd little sci-fi franchise. I don't plan on making this an exclusively Doctor Who channel, however it will be a primary talking point of my videos. I do have other interests in other shows and the such, but it will remain primarily a Doctor Who related channel. And I have a few ideas in the pipeline, but they shall remain secrets for now. Just know that my ideas are many and I plan to make so much more down the line. But until then, goodbye and stay safe.